Okay. I guess we'll just start then. What? I think this is episode... Shit, I didn't look it up. What episode are we?
Damn it.
Wait. No, it's fine. It's not. We don't have to start away. We don't have to start right away.
Okay.
We can't code. I mean, typically we've got a little bit of filler at the beginning of each episode.
Yeah.
So this is different. This is okay. All right, we're on episode 23. All right. Loosey goosey again.
Loosey goosey.
All right. Hey, welcome back to episode 23
whoop,
of
whoop!
We Can't Code, so we criticize. This is a weekly video game podcast between two friends where we share relatively biased opinions on our favorite video games, but who doesn't?
Yep.
Also, covering week-to-week gamer news. My name is Ben.
I'm Michael.
Good, I'm glad you remembered your cue. It has been... You remember
Quite a
both
while.
things. You remembered the whoop whoop, and you remembered to say
My
your
name. Yes.
I remember... The first episode, you said my name, I remember, for some reason. Or no, that was in the we made the intro, or the, whatever,
I think it's
intro to our YouTube channel.
Yeah. We were trying to make it for when they first went to our YouTube page, that would be the thing that played automatically. Which
Mike was like, how can I fuck this up as much as possible?
I fucked up
Figured
so
it out.
many times.
Yep.
Oh,
Yes, you
man.
did.
But
So,
it's been a year, man, and right now we're in what month are we in? Right now this
Yeah,
is
we should probably address
July.
that.
Yeah, so this is July, and it's a Saturday for us. It's the 27th. We're coming back, so this is not gonna be out right away because we have to reset some stuff up again since we've been gone so long. So,
that was the most soft-served thing. Oh, yeah, we're coming back.
it's like I did the
Such
whoop
an
whoop.
afterthought.
All right, and I
Yeah.
did broke my sound barrier, by the way, after you told me not to do that, and I redid that.
Yeah. It's fine, don't worry. Mike means, because we're using new recording software for Mike, so
Yeah.
we're doing first timer for him.
Yeah,
But
so this time before, like, Ben was just recording both of us, and now we're doing it that I'm recording myself and Ben was recording himself, too, so hopefully it sounds
we're
better.
sharing the load, Frodo style.
I'll take you to that mountaintop, Ben. We'll drop the ring together. I'd love to. But we're going to keep the same style, though. We're going to do what we did during the week, our top fives, honorable mentions. I don't know if we're going to have that, though, just, and then maybe a little bit of news.
I've got two this week. We're basically just going to pick up exactly where we left off. I mean, I'm under the impression of it. If it ain't broken, don't fix it.
I totally agree.
So I listened to the last podcast, and I thought, well, this is a solid 10 out of 10. Why aren't these guys as big as, like, Donkey or...
I know, right?
I don't know. Who
Joe
who's
Rogan.
that podcast guy? Joe Rogan.
Yeah. You know, we're 10 times better than him. We're not. He's really good. He's so good. But, so let's, want to just hop right into it, then? Let's get back on track.
Yeah. So, if this is your first time, I guess it's a good place to start, because we took a long hiatus here.
Yeah.
So, typically we talk about what games we've been playing this week, and then we go into, movies, games, like media, whatever. Then we go into our top 5 list, which this week we decided to do top 5 loot systems. I listened to the last episode, and that is specifically where we left off last time. So top 5 loot systems.
Yeah.
And then we used to do like a news story after that, but we have decided to try out less of a news story.
Well,
things are always coming out, and I don't want us to be a news source. I want us to, we can talk about what's in the news, but I don't want people to walk away from this thinking that we have any kind of a credible source or anything.
And
Like,
plus, Ben has his own news and YouTube channel, too, as well. Also, Instagram, too. So if you want to check that out, it's Overclock News.
Thanks for the plug.
It's pretty good.
Which is funny because this time last year, I remember I was talking about my previous episode. I think before I was doing Kill Street Comics last year.
Yeah.
I'm sure in another 23 episodes, they're gonna be like, yeah, fuck that shit. Ben is onto his new thing. It's gonna be called Super Duper Pooper Games.
I just forgot that. Yeah, you traded up things now. You had that last one, now you have this one. It's funny.
So I was a little. I was a little hesitant about bringing it up just because I was like, I feel like a piece of shit for abandoning that last thing. But thanks
That's
for
what
embarrassing me now, Mike.
You're the one who brought up the older one. For all we know, people just could start on this one. This might we can label this one episode 1.02, and then from now on, everything's be .0 something after .02, like episode 2 afterwards. So they'll know.
We can I like to keep the same numbering order, but I think we should just officially call this season 2.
Oh, I like that. I think it's a great idea. And this is season 2 of We Can't
Code. Because,
Joe
Rogan or whatever, he's on, like, whenever he starts, no.
Nope, he's just numbers, because he's on, like, 1,000 something still.
Unless, so he keeps the same number thing.
Except for, like, MMAs. If he has MMA talks, so if he talks, like, to fighters and stuff, he actually labels those differently. Which, like, he actually puts on his title. It's like, oh, this is an MMA talk, and this is the number whatever for MMA talks. That's the only time he switches the count.
But I mean, honestly, who cares about
Exactly. No one really gives a flying fuck. It's a number.
All right. I guess we'll get into it. Mike, how was your week? What did you play this week? And what happenings are happening?
So, I've been playing games on and off. I've tried to start playing again. I played a little bit of Resident Evil 7. I think that's what it was. Yeah, Resident Evil 7, the first-person view of the game, the Resident Evils. And I need to pick it up again, but man, I'd kind of reached a point where the game feels like I'm on rails the whole entire time. It looks beautiful and all that stuff, but I just feel like I'm just on this one-way track, and I can sense when something's always going to happen. And when it does happen, it's not really that scary. It looks beautiful, but it really just feels like you're meant to play in VR, and it has that VR vibe.
Beautifully scary.
Yeah, when you're in VR, but then you notice though if you're not playing in first person. I mean, when you're not playing in VR, you realize it has that VR vibe to it, where it's basically just a one-track thing. You just go one direction the whole entire time, and something pops out and scares you, and then okay, next thing.
So you're not playing in VR?
No, I'm not. I'm playing with just a controller and stuff. Just off of my PS4, just casually. So I put that one down. So I started playing other games though on my computer. I actually picked up a new indie game called Void Bastards, and I actually played it and beat it, which is kind of a rarity for me because it's a roguelike game, and usually I never finish rogue games. But I actually played all the way through it and beat it, and I had a lot of fun with it. And I'll probably talk about it more a little bit later.
About?
So,
okay.
Because it's in my top 5, so I'm going to say I can talk about it later. So there's no repeating it. And I've been replaying another game that you, me, and one of our other friends have been playing too, which is Divinity Original Sin 2. I started playing that one because they're coming out with another game, and I want to actually finally beat this because the story's great, the gameplay's great, and that basically explains that. And I've already gone off the island, because when you first start off, you're starting on this prison island, and I finally just gone off of it, and it's still a shitload of fun, and I just can't wait to get back into that, playing it. Besides that, movie-wise, man, I haven't seen any really movies except for maybe off of that's worth mentioning, except for do you remember that movie that came out a while ago called Battle Angel, and it was with that cyber girl with the creepy big eyes, Ben?
Alita, Battle Angel.
Yes, that movie. I never seen a movie that had so much potential but is absolute garbage. Okay, so sorry about that. You might notice a little weird jump back to this conversation, but we were talking.
Computer shit the bed.
Yeah, my computer shit the bed. I lost space on my memory because I got too many games on my thing and too other much crap. But I switched over to my.
That's why it stopped?
Yeah, it said I lost space, so it was weird. And so I switched over to my other hard drive on my laptop. So it's got plenty of space on that side. So we're okay with that. So that solved that. I didn't think I was actually going to fill up already. It was saying, oh, you have low disk space. I'm like, oh, fuck you. I'm fine. And I thought I put this on the other hard drive that had plenty of space.
Suck my dick, computer. I'll do what I want.
Yeah, well, I told it to download this on my other hard drive that had plenty of space on it, and I guess it fucking decided, you know what, fuck you, I'm not. I'm like, all right. because that's what it just fucking decided to do, you piece of shit. So this is on my terabyte hard drive, so we should have plenty of space now. But we were talking about Battle Angel, and just to repeat it so I don't miss anything, the movie had so many great ideas to make a great movie, but there were so many, and they never fleshed out on any of them, so the movie just didn't make sense at all. It was just not good, but so much potential. I've never seen a movie with so much potential and fall flat so hard. And then Ben, you saw this movie. Do you have the same thoughts on this one too?
Yeah. So I don't know exactly when your computer crapped out, but we'll just go through the same argument here.
Yeah.
My point was I saw the movie as well, and I thought that it was decent, and I thought that it set up for a sequel, but I'm not sure if the sequel's actually happening or not. My point was, when the Star Wars, Episode 4 movie was made, I'm sure that there were plenty of things that they didn't fully explain. What happens to Luke, what happens to Darth Vader, what happens to all those guys. And that's not really fleshed out until the 2 movies later.
Yeah.
But obviously none of that fucking matters if they're not going to make a sequel, because I don't remember hearing people saying that, the movie did amazing in the box office and that they're really excited to start filming again or something.
And it's sad because the style, the graphics were very good, honestly. Everything actually matched. Everything, the style they went with looked really good, especially since it's such a heavily CGI movie. It still was fun to watch. It was just
there was this cool thing about the director. He was talking about why he made her eyes so big. And people thought that it was really awkward and weird to make her look like an anime girl, but he said no, that wasn't the reason why her eyes were big. The reason that her eyes are so big is because he wanted to create that sense of uncanny valley. Are you familiar with that?
Yeah, I actually brought that up with my girlfriend who was watching when we saw her, and I said she's so weird because of the uncanny valley. So yeah, he fucking nailed it.
So for any listeners that don't know, uncanny valley is basically it's that spot between robot and human where you can't exactly tell. It could go one way or the other. So the fact that she looks so human, they needed something to off-put how human she looked. So he said to put her right in the middle of that, is she machine, is she human kind of feel and look. That's why they made her eyes so big.
Yeah, it gives you a very when you're in the uncanny valley, it makes you feel very uncomfortable because you want to think they're human, but in the back of your head they're not because of these small things. A great example for this is, Ben, did you see the trailer for Cats? The musical. They're getting a movie.
The musical?
Yes. They're making a movie now of Cats. And they are making them full-sized humans covered in fur, face cats, but everything is great, but their lips are fucking massive, and they're human lips, and so it just looks weird. The rest of the body of them looks amazing. The fur, the ears, everything looks awesome, but when you just see their lips and when they talk, it's creepy, and it's that uncanny valley, and it's to the extreme.
I'm gonna pull up a picture here.
You should. It's just Cats trailer, and it's everything else gets just I know it's a furry's paradise. It's gonna be a furry paradise for this movie, but they do look good except for their lips. I don't want to say this, but I have to. It's almost like freaking the big lips you see in the black and white films when they did a blackface. My mind goes straight to that, and it's just bad. I don't know why it goes to that, but it does, and it just seems so wrong. And it's kind of sad because everything looks really good. I only heard small sound bits of the singing. It sounds fantastic. The set looks awesome. I'm just not a fan of the face with the lips. The lips, man, they take me out of the film a little bit. But I'm still gonna go see it. I think it's great.
I am not sure what you're talking about. I'm looking at the stills. I'm not really seeing it, but I'm not gonna see the movie regardless.
if you watch a trailer of it and you see it in motion, it just, I don't know, like I'm seeing one now and I'm just like, oh, the lips. It's weird. I mean, I know they did it on purpose, but I don't know if I'm a fan of it, but I'm still going to be seeing it. I'm still excited because I love musicals. And I've never seen Cats live. I'd actually never seen Cats at all, so I'm actually excited to see it. Because my girlfriend, it's one of her favorite musicals, so it's a good reason to go see it too. But it just, man, it's just that Uncanny Valley with those lips is weird. Just a little side trait with that. But
does Uncanny Valley relate to humans and cats, or is
no?
Uncanny Valley?
Uncanny Valley I don't think it even relates to just machines though. It's just that gap between believable and non-believable. And when you're in that point right at the middle, when it can and cannot be, that's when things get really, really weird. And that's the Uncanny Valley. At least that's my description of the Uncanny Valley. I don't think it just relates to machines.
I don't know, man.
Well, it's like, let's see. Let's type in the description.
It says, a common unsettling feeling people experience when androids or humanoid robots and audiovisual simulations closely resemble humans in many respects but are not quite convincingly realistic.
Well, and
So
in
I
Wikipedia,
get what you're saying.
in Wikipedia, Uncanny Valley is a hypnotized relationship between degree of an object's resemblance to a human being and the emotion response to such an object. So yeah,
All right.
so, but it's mostly used.
Define me,
Yeah, I am, because I'm defending myself.
bitch. All right.
But
No more cats. Let's move on. Tired of talking about fucking cats.
By the way, I forgot to put this.
Can we talk about games?
This is why we took up the news section, because we only had the news section to eat up some more time, but we realized that we took up so much time that we needed to be shorter, and so we decided to get rid of the news section. That's the main reason why.
Because we banter too much. Just chirp all day.
I think it's fun.
Okay, so
that's my week.
Mike watched Battle Angel, and he played a couple games.
I played and beat Void Bastards.
Yeah.
Which we'll talk about later.
Can we please talk about me now, Mike?
Yeah, I guess we can finally talk about you, Ben.
Thank you. I have been waiting patiently.
And you've been such a good boy.
Alright. How was my week? It was good.
Why is that?
The end. No. So
Great
I picked
story.
up this new card game a couple of months ago.
Oh, this fucking card game.
A couple weeks ago.
Trying to make me play
Yeah,
this
Mike's got an
fucking
earful
forever.
of it because I've been trying to get him to play it, but he'd rather watch Cats instead.
Yeah, I would.
The game is called the Eternal Card Game. It's on Steam and phone. It's basically Hearthstone but with Magic the Gathering rules, which is awesome.
Which is cool because I do like
disagree,
Magic the
obviously.
Gathering. It is a fun game.
Yeah. I mean, it's basically a straight hard copy off of both of them, which there's nothing wrong with that. So Hearthstone in the sense that the interface is like Hearthstone. Like the art style and everything, you would think, wow, this is fucking Hearthstone.
Now, what if they haven't played Hearthstone? What is Hearthstone, Ben?
Look it up. I'm not going to fucking tell you what Hearthstone is, and then what a trading card game is, and then what
I'm pretty sure
Evolution
everyone
is.
who's listening to this knows what fucking Hearthstone is. Because if you're not well, I mean, we do classes, we can't code, so you don't know what the whole thing is about.
It's a competitive playing card game that Blizzard Entertainment owns, and it's really cool. Anyway, so Eternal Card Game. It's good. They give you a lot more card decks than Hearthstone, and each card deck has a dozen cards versus Hearthstone, which has only 5 cards each deck. So I really like that feature about it.
How big is your deck when you play it?
About 8 inches, Mike.
You know what I said, you dick. God, Ben. Jesus, low fruit, my friend, low fruit.
Man wants to know how big another man's deck is. I don't disappoint. Right? So, let's see.
I miss talking to you, Ben. But no, back on topic, like how, because in Hearthstone you get like 60 cards limit.
Yeah. So in Eternal, you
I
get
think it's
75
30.
cards.
Sorry.
Okay. Well, in Eternal, you get 75 cards, but because the rules are based off of Magic the Gathering, a lot of those cards, like about 40% of those cards are resource or like land cards. So you typically have to spend a resource card each turn while you also use like monsters and spells and whatnot.
Do these
And
resource
I've been enjoying
cards
that.
stay on the battlefield, or no? They just use once and they're gone?
Like, they refill each turn.
Okay.
Yeah, so, like, once you use one, then it says, oh, your resources, you have 1 of 1. When you use, 2 more, then it says you've got 2 of 2, 3 of 3.
Gotcha.
And then, if you use them up, then the next turn it goes back to 3 out of 3.
Okay.
So, that's been enjoyable. And the last thing I'll mention about is that I really like that it gives equal emphasis on not offline play, on single player as well as multiplayer, because a lot of times I just want to get my deck as good as possible, but I really fucking hate playing against people lately. I don't know why, but I haven't been playing anything online lately.
Yeah, me too.
And this is a really good like card game that like our friend is playing Thronebreaker, the Witcher 3 card game, and he's saying that it's just a fucking steamroll now. Like he'll play it and he has all these great cards and no one even stands a chance. And I really like that this game, it has the ability to go online, but even offline is still really difficult because of the resource cards. A lot of it does come down to the luck of the draw. Sometimes you don't get any resource cards at all, and that can just hinder you immensely. So Eternal card game, check it out. It's free, really fun. The other game that I've been playing is Fallout 4 Game of the Year edition.
Oh,
so
nice. Yeah, I've been trying. I tried replaying that, but for some reason it's been crashing on me, and I can't even start it anymore. And so I tried restarting it, and it just doesn't let me. How's that holding up nowadays? Still good?
Yeah. So
good.
I got the Game of the Year edition. Before I played it before on my PS4. It was bundled with my PS4 like 4 or 5 whatever years ago. And so I've heard that the DLC was pretty good. I heard that Far Harbor has a great story, and I heard that Nuka World was pretty cool too. So I was like, okay, well, there's a great discount right now for $15 for the whole thing. So I was like, why not?
And like the modding community has gone nuts on Fallout 4 lately. There's a shit ton of good mods, which I tried. Which is why I try to re-download it, and play it again, but just did not want to work. And it would not work even without mods for me. I have no idea why. And I'm just being lazy and don't want to dive into it, because if a game just doesn't work when you just download it, I'm just like, all right, you lost me. I don't need to put that much effort.
Yeah, but this really funny thing happened to me in Fallout right before we started talking here. So I got to the point where I can steal things from people, and I can steal their equipped weapons. I'm almost where I can steal their equipped clothes, but right now I can steal their equipped weapons. So
standard
there
feature.
There's this part where you're breaking into a bank vault or like a town vault, and previously I had gone through and I had just stolen everything from everyone, and so we blow out the floor into the main like bank vault area, whatever. And then it's a setup, and oh no, these people are there, and they're like, you really thought you could hide from us? And like, you thought that you could sneak behind our back, and we're like, oh no, they're gonna kill us. And then they open fire, and the main person, who is like the mayor's right-hand man, she just runs at me with her fists. and she's like, ugh. You like that? And so I just take out my gun and just like 2 shots, dead.
Does she have like anything on her hands? Did she have like brass knuckles? Anything?
Well, I was trying to figure out what the hell was going on. I was like, this is the fight? But, so it turns out the gun I stole from her before was just like, it was an okay gun. And then once I killed her and I looted her, she had this like super impressive like minigun, and it was upgraded and it was awesome. And I was like, why the fuck weren't you using this a second ago? So I don't know what the hell, like, like the gun that I stole from her earlier, I don't know if that's the gun that she usually uses, or if she actually does. Yeah, like this minigun was awesome. I was like, why the fuck aren't you using that? And then I remembered I stole like some petty gun off of her a couple hours ago.
Oh, did she have ammo?
But it was the funniest. I think NPCs typically have ammo at all times.
No,
like, they always have.
If you give them, they only have ammo if they have ammo on them, but they actually have unlimited ammo when they do. So if you leave like one piece of ammo with them, they have like unlimited of that ammo then. But if they have no ammo, then they cannot use their weapon at all. So it's kind of weird.
So maybe that's what happened. Maybe she was planning on using that gun, but when I stole her, like all of the shit off of her earlier, I took the ammo as well.
Yeah, so like
interesting.
I wonder if they fixed that.
I guess not.
Yeah.
So,
well, no, I mean like if they can have unlimited ammo, because like I wonder if they took that out so they don't have that anymore. But yeah, so most of the time if you like allies, all you need to do is give them like one piece of ammo for that gun, and then they have that for unlimited ammo then.
Anyway, it was pretty damn hilarious.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
She had like this huge speak. She was like, "You really thought you could sneak underneath our noses and we wouldn't find out? You're all gonna die." And then she's just like, gets out her hands. She's like, "You missed your man!" And just started hitting me, and I was like, "Fuck off, bitch!" So that was awesome.
Were you in a power suit?
No, actually, my guy is somewhat naked. So I've got this really like raider. I've got this raider armor.
Oh, the standard one. Yeah.
It gives me like buffs for all different parts of the body, but it's like leather straps. So like my nipples are out, and like I'm wearing my tighty whities, and everyone can see it and everything. And people are always like, "You gotta put some clothes on," and I'm like, "Well, then I'm gonna lose +2 endurance, motherfucker. Like, what would you do?"
Fuck off.
You gonna give me that +2 endurance? So anyway, yeah, my guy is just like bare ass naked except for a couple leather straps, but so like I can't take a beating for shit. If someone shoots me, I basically die immediately. My goal is to just stockpile Molotov cocktails and just start whipping them at people, though. That's been the go-to plan. That's been working out pretty well. There's some other funny shit that happened in Fallout 4, but I'm sure I'm gonna be playing it for a couple weeks, so I'll save it for later.
Nice.
The last thing is that, like, I don't know if you're a big Quentin Tarantino movie buff, but I saw his 9th movie yesterday. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Oh no, I wanted to see that though, because I've only heard good things so far. Did you like it?
It was all right. First off, I don't want to give any spoilers about it. I would kill someone if they spoiled Quentin Tarantino for me. I went into it not knowing anything, and so I'm just going to give off overall impressions about what I thought. Typically, in Quentin Tarantino movies, they have a main star or a main cast, and they kind of follow that person around. This one was interesting, where they had more than one person that they were following, and a lot of it felt like they didn't really wrap up what they were trying to get at with each person. And so that's the only complaint I've got, is that the stories were all, well,
open-ended.
Most of the time the stories were good, but when it ended, it was like, oh, this is why we've been following this person around. And it was like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, I've been seeing, like, this person plays such a small role in the movie at the end, and I feel like I'm already saying too much, sorry, but it felt like,
I can understand what you're saying, because I feel like that's how Battle Angel ended too, as well. It just kind of ends with not everything fully described, and when they do just like explain something, it doesn't really make much sense.
Well, they just took a lot of time to shell out these characters, and at the end of the day, there was only 2 or 3 that they were like, oh, they all came together and this happened at the end. And you could say, like, oh no, everyone came together at the end, but in the smallest sense, these people came together. Like, it all converged into one ending, but people played the smallest role. And these are people that you've been watching, like, go about their day for like 30 minutes of the movie.
Oh, so it's like, did they even matter?
Yeah, it felt like they were gonna play some larger part, but they really didn't. And so that was the big problem that I had with it. But otherwise, I really like Quentin Tarantino's style.
Yeah, they're usually sometimes they get a bit over the top for me, too much, but I do enjoy his movies though.
If that's the case, then you might not like this one.
Gotcha.
Because,
well, I mean, I already know that going in expecting it, but I mean, I'm not like I don't hate it, but it makes me like I don't fully like his style. I appreciate it, but I'm not the biggest fan of his style because I think he does take things too far. But it's not bad, but it's not great either, at least in my mind. But I can see why people like it a lot, though.
This movie definitely takes things too far to me. It felt very rich by the end of it. Like, they did this interesting thing. I'm not going to say it, actually.
Yeah, I feel you.
But, yeah, I'm just going to say, like...
Overall rating, what would you give it out of 10? I know you usually don't like doing that, but for you...
So I thought about this, and I would give it a 7. It was enjoyable. Like, 5 would be my cusp of, like, I couldn't decide if I liked it or not. So 6 was enjoyable. 7 means it had some good parts, and I enjoyed it. It had some good parts, but I felt like there was definitely a lot of fat that could have been trimmed off of it.
Yeah. For me, like Battle Angel, I'd give Battle Angel a 5. You go see it, but don't expect anything out of it. So, how would you compare it to the rest of his movies that he's done so far? Would you say this is kind of like a really good one compared to the stuff he's done, or not so good?
Well, it's tough because I was trying to think of what are all his other 9 movies. So let me look. Like, I've seen most of them. I
think I've seen all of his movies.
Okay, so let me take a look. Career filmography: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 movies. But then also, I don't know if he's counting Death Proof, the one that he did with the Grindhouse. So I think that's the one that he's not exactly counting. Anyway, Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction. I never saw Jackie Brown. Kill Bill 1, Kill Bill 2.
I never heard of that.
Yeah. Death Proof, Inglourious Bastards, Django Unchained, Hateful Eight. I would say that it's probably on the lower end of the spectrum. Between Hateful Eight and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood are probably the lowest movies on that list. I loved every other movie on this list. I haven't seen Jackie Brown, but I mean, I don't think much can compare with Pulp Fiction or Kill Bill, Inglourious Bastards, Django Unchained. I can't name a single movie on this list that isn't top tier. But Hateful Eight had some weird parts with narration. Like I remember there's a couple parts in Hateful Eight where the narration just comes out of nowhere, where it's like, by the way, somebody poisoned the water while no one was looking. And I get that he's kind of doing like a throwback to like, look at how ironically stupid this is, but at the same time it kind of threw off a little bit for me.
I agree with you.
And so I think they do that a little bit in Inglourious Bastards too. I can't remember, but
I think they did, yeah.
Hateful Eight and Once Upon a Time in Mexico are probably I hate to say it, but Once Upon a Time in Mexico is probably my lowest rated film for him. It's still very good. I love Quentin Tarantino to death, but yeah, a 7. Everything else is probably like 8, 9, 10.
You mean Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, right?
Yeah. Sorry,
it's all good.
Based off of the. That was another thing too. It's based off of some actual people. Like, it's about old cinema, and so it felt like there was a lot of inside jokes for movie makers there about like, oh, look at how these people were in the 60s and like these famous actors and stuff. And it felt like it was like the Hollywood community would like it a lot, but there was a lot of things that flew over my head. Like, I've actually never seen a lot of classical movies. I saw Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, but there's still a bunch of movies of that era
I might like this movie then. I might want to give it a check out because I watch a lot of old movies, so it might be actually fun to see
Yeah, it
this
definitely
one
gives
like.
a nod to older cinema, to movies of the 50s and 60s.
Yeah, okay, nice.
Yeah.
Alrighty, though. Anything else, though, going on this week for you? Anything big that you did, too?
Well, I was thinking... So the next thing to talk about is our top 5 usually.
Yeah.
And we should stay the course with that. But obviously we haven't made a podcast in like 15 months or something. So I'm thinking our next podcast can kind of be a summary of everything that we have done in the last year, basically. So like our top 5 can be best games we've played in 2018. Instead of the how was your week beginning that we usually do, we can talk about like, what games really stuck out, and then also on top of that, what games were just dog shit, what movies in 2018. So in terms of what I did this week, that would be it. But I think that next week when we have our next episode, we should do a year recap episode, if you're okay with that.
Yeah, I'd be totally fine with that, because there's some movies that I've watched that this year. I mean, I guess I watched them this year, but they came out last year, so that'd be kind of a fun way for me to talk about them then and still be kind of on track with it. Because that'd be a cool idea. I like that a lot. Yeah, that'd be fun.
All right, then let's just move on to our top 5 loot systems then.
Okay.
So, Mike, obviously it's been a while.
Yep.
How we have done this in the past is we say our 5, 4, 3, and then we switch. So, like, last time Mike started, who's counting,
did I?
15 months ago. Yeah, so I would start. I would say
usually we just
kind
kind of wing and guess who started last time, then actually doing the research and looking who actually started.
I listened to the last episode. I wanted to know where we were.
I don't listen to
Mike,
trash.
You're not even giving attention to the last thing that we did.
Nope.
So I'm gonna start out. I'm gonna say my number 5, my number 4, my number 3. Then we'll switch to Mike, 5, 4, 3. Then I'll say my 2. Mike will say his 2, and then I'll say my number 1, and Mike will say his number 1. So this is top 5 loot systems. I'll start with my number 5. And I swear to God, this isn't simply because I'm playing Fallout 4, but I would say that Fallout 4 has my number 5 loot system.
Okay.
And the reason for that, I think Fallout in general has good looting. Probably the best out of RPGs. Like Skyrim... Not Skyrim, sorry, the Elder Scrolls and Fallout both kind of have the same general loot system, but Fallout 4 I thought was better because it does what I'm calling seamless searching. So you don't have to open up a menu to look into something. You just look at it, it shows you what's available, and then without opening up another menu, you can kind of search through that pop-up menu and pick things really quickly. You don't have to E to search through every cupboard and everything. You just look at it, you see what's in there really quickly, and then you can move on to the next thing. So I like that a lot. I think it makes things really fast, and it doesn't break the immersion as much.
Totally agree with you.
Yep. Number 4 is interesting. So this game I haven't played in a while, but I thought that it made the list. I thought that it should make the list. And this is Binding of Isaac. Whether that's the first one or Rebirth.
Okay.
I felt that the loot system was actually pretty cool because the way that you add to your loot pool is they're like upgrades. So, I mean, feel free to say no or yes or whatever to this one if you agree or disagree.
No, it's I was interested on, like, when I was looking at games, I wanted to, and I just totally forgot just because, it's been a while since we did this podcast and I was super excited. But I was like, wondering, like, what would be a good way to describe, like, what is looting in a game in the end, because like you said, I agree with you that Binding of Isaac, you do look around for loot in their upgrades, but it's still loot nonetheless, and it does have a very interesting system to do it as well.
Yeah, there's item rooms, you buy them,
there's slot machines, there's the bosses.
Exactly. So I figured that would be good loot.
Yeah.
So Binding of Isaac gets it because I think the way that you get loot is interesting, where you just have to progress the game more and more, and then once you, like, beat something a certain way, or once you beat a boss so many times, then it unlocks the loot, and then that loot gets added to your loot pool, which then you can randomly find somewhere in the dungeon. And then on top of that, one, that's a really cool idea to begin with, but two is that from that, like everything that you can collect, they all sync together, which makes loot that much cooler. Is you can get spinning tiers, and then they can also like shoot blood or whatever. Like it's cool that the loot kind of builds on itself.
There's some missing action.
Yeah. Number 3, I would say, was Borderlands. And
wow. Okay.
The reason that I thought Borderlands was higher than Fallout and Binding of Isaac was that was the first time that the guns felt genuinely randomized. Like, I remember the first time I played Borderlands 1 is I picked up a sniper rifle, and it had a revolving receiver in it, like a 6-shot sniper rifle, and I was like, this is fucking crazy, like, that's insane. And there's a bunch of other guns that they literally just feel like they took 2 guns, sawed them in half, and glued the 2 halves together. Like, I like the idea that, like, a gun that has such a feeling of a sniper rifle is now suddenly a shotgun or something. A shotgun is now, a revolver or something. Like, it has that feeling that, like, literally these are 2 guns that are just smashed together. So I thought that Borderlands has always kept with that pretty well. Like, everything feels... It honestly feels like true randomization. Like, they took a bunch of different parts of gun, the handle, the receiver, the bolt, everything, and then the barrel, and then they just took all that and then said, okay, what if we were just able to do everything with everything? And so that's why Borderlands gets number 3.
Okay.
I'm sure that we're going to see a couple repeaters on here because this list, I mean, there's a lot of loot-based games, but there's only a couple that have really stood out. So, Mike, why don't you start with your number 5?
My number 5 is, like you, Fallout. I just put Fallout because I feel like, Fallout, then there's like Fallout Las Vegas, and then Fallout 3, and then Fallout 4. They all really, I mean, they kind of updated in Fallout 4 where you can actually see the parts that are inside of them more better. And it's good. I like it. It's not the best, though, which is why it's in the bottom of the 5. And it does feel like when you really get into the game, it gets kind of tedious. More of just with the weights and then what you actually need. And just trying to find it is kind of annoying.
Yeah, carrying the loot is what I would almost say hurts it. Like
it does.
It's a pain in the ass to go back all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why it's not on the top. But the gameplay is still fun, and I still like it. But it just just carrying in all that stuff. It's a large issue with it, but still good. That's why it's on my number 5. My number 4 is actually where we're getting to Void Bastard. And so Ben's never played Void Bastard, and I know a lot of people never have. But Void Bastard, the basic of the storyline is that there is a prison ship, and so it's in the future, it's space travel, and there's a prison ship that is transporting prisoners, but it breaks down because it gets attacked by pirates, so it gets destroyed and all that stuff. So, and there is no crew alive to help it. So the AI system uses the prisoners on the ship to go out to get all the component needs to fix itself. And the prisoners are all dehydrated into powder, so it's kind of funny because it just takes one random bag of a prisoner, pulls, opens up the bag, pours into the ship, a ship, and then pours water, and then bam, you have a new prisoner. And it's a roguelike game, so like every new character has disabilities and bonuses sometimes. So like a disability can be like, oh, he's a smoker, so he coughs. So enemies can find him. There is something like that, There's some that's like, oh, this person needs like, I can't remember all of them, but like one closes doors behind him everywhere he goes, which is a benefit and a hindrance too at the same time. And some don't eat food when they travel. But and to get on with the gameplay then, so you start out in an overview of your spaceship, and then there's a whole bunch of ships in front of you, and if you played Faster and Light, where you can pick a direction where you want to go to, and then what's nice though, it tells you like every ship, because like what you do then is that you go to destroyed ships in the void, and these ships are now they're just basically ghost ships, and they're filled with creatures. And then you go into each ship, and your main goal, and the only thing is to get material to build equipment. That's it. You don't get bonuses for killing people. You have limited ammo. You find ammo, and so it's like your main goal is just to get loot. It's just meant to get materials to build stuff for the prison ship and to upgrade your character. Everything else does not matter. You also need to get food and fuel. And so just
Nothing
like
matters in this world.
And yeah, which is why I like about it so much is that it's like the first game where it's like, yeah, you just get loot. There's no staying around killing enemies to get bonus XP, to get bonus anything. No, your main goal is just get the loot and get out as fast as you can, because you have health and you don't get health. When you get back to your ship, there's no healing. You have to find health out in the world, or you get health by feeding yourself. By eating food and just resting. And which is just it's just like a fun mechanic. It's like the first game I actually got to play. It's like, okay, so my main goal is not to kill anyone at all. In fact, I just waste ammo. The best thing is to avoid them. And it has a cool system where you can lock you can lock doors, so you can lock enemies into rooms so you don't have to deal with them, because there are some enemies that are just like fucking massive dudes that just take a shit ton of damage and deal a lot of damage. So every single time when I came across, I'm like, all right, I need to get you into a room and just lock you in. And then it just like...
to get you into a room and lock in the room.
Exactly. It's silly, but so much fun.
Personal time.
And if anyone's listening, you've ever played Faster Than Light, the ship layout is the exact kind of same way as it is in that game, where everything's kind of compartmentalized to separate, you get into a room, there's 2 doors usually get into the room. And it's just kind of funny because when I was playing, it's like, wow, it's like playing Faster Than Light, but you're playing first person in the ships. And, but yeah, it was just stupid fun. And even though I try to avoid roguelike games, it just really picked my interest because it's a first person shooter and your only goal is to get loot. So it was a nice little spin. And so that's why it's on my top 4. And my top 3 is, the third one is kind of a debate between the second one. They're really neck and neck. But I would have to say, because I'm playing the other one more and still am playing, my number 3 is Warframe, Space Ninjas. You've probably heard me talk about this game if you listened to the prior podcast a year ago. Ben always laughs when I bring this game up because I call it Space Ninjas. And they literally say you're a ninja, by the way, in their trailers. They say ninjas play for free, and it's a free to play game. But man, that game is stupid fun though, and I just like it because it's a loot-based system, because you need to just go to planets, and planets are just levels. But now they actually opened up to like these massive open world parts now, which is just insane, especially since it's a free to play and everyone has access to it. And but most of the time you're just playing these levels, and the levels tell you exactly what loot you're trying to get in there. It's like this area has this type of loot, go there, which is similar to Voidbuster. Voidbuster shows you the ships, and it's like, okay, these ships have this stuff. Do you want to dock or not? And I really like that, where it just kind of cuts the bullshit of randomness, and just says, hey, have fun with the game, play the game, and knowing that you're going to get exactly what you're trying to get in there, or you're much, much more likely to get it, which I really enjoy, and the gameplay in it is so much fun. I just played it to death, though, so that's why I don't really play it anymore, is that I've just destroyed that game.
Did you ever play it on the Switch?
No, I mean, you have to make another account, and I'm not making another account. It's a grind fest. And that's one of the reasons why I usually stay away from loot games a lot, is that I'm not a fan of the grinding too much. But that's why these are top 5s, because I actually like playing them, and that's a rarity for me. So like these top 5s are my top 5, and they're pretty much the only ones I actually play that have massive amount of looting into it, involved-wise.
All right.
And so yeah, but that's my 3, which is Fallout, then Voidbusters, and then Warframe. Then we're on to Ben's number 2. What's yours?
This has happened more than once, but I'm sure that you and I are gonna have the same number 1. But I'm making a prediction. But anyway, my number 2 is Dungeon Defenders.
Oh. That's right,
So-
man. I forgot about that game, to be honest. Straight up
good game.
forgot. It was a good game. That'll be my honorable mention.
Stealing my number 2 as your honorable mention.
Yep.
So, Dungeon Defenders was cool because I wrote down little notes here. I say, you can grind forever and still find a better piece of armor, which probably fits exactly why the game was great. Yeah. I mean, that's pretty...
It was right up
makes
your
sense.
alley. You played that way more than I did, but I still had fun playing that with you.
I got committed pretty hard into the shop, which was fun. But the reason that this is different from Borderlands 3 is that Borderlands 3 had a gun, and they took the gun and they exploded it into 6 different pieces, and then they mashed it together as many different ways as possible. Dungeon Defenders, they just had an absolutely ridiculous amount of weapons as well, but I also liked how everything could upgrade your base stats. And Borderlands did this as well, where, like, you know, you could upgrade, you know, into certain skills, like +2 or +3 into certain skills. But Dungeon Defenders, if you got to a high enough level, it was like +200 into this skill. And so, like, I thought that was awesome how the game just kept building up on itself. Like, it got so unbelievably intense. Like, you would always think, like, oh, this is the most damage I can put out, and then you would find a new weapon, and it's just like that much crazier, you know. Like, if you had like a weapon that did +300 to like your damage, or to your towers, or like you know, something that did +200 to make your towers shoot faster, you would find something that, you know, they would, like, the next expansion that you get into, it's like +1,000 or something. Like, they made it so that it really, the power creep was real in that game, but it still it still felt so good. And then the other thing too is I really liked the shop as well. So the shop was similar to like Diablo almost, if anyone has played like Diablo 2, where you would have to go to people's servers to do shopping. But the nice thing is you didn't have to have a fucking conversation. Like in Diablo, in Diablo 2, you had to go up to someone and be like, hey, what do you got? And they'd have to chat and be like, I got this for that and whatever. Like, Dungeon Defenders was cool because you could just go into someone's server, someone's private server, and then, like, they would set up their own shop. So then you would look into that inventory. They would have set prices, and then you could just go in, buy whatever. So the reason that I got really into that game is just you would put it on your computer, put your monitor to sleep, go to bed, and then the next day you would have woke up with like $1 million extra bucks or something, because people would go in and out and just buy shit. Like, I liked that feature quite a bit. So that's why Dungeon Defenders is at my number 2. Is it just always felt like you could do more damage. It never felt like that game was ever completely over, which I really enjoyed.
Nice.
So what you got for number 2, Mike?
My number 2, it's gonna shock Ben, but it is Diablo 3 is my number 2.
Alright.
So Diablo 3, the reason why it's not number 1 is that there is, when you play Diablo, if you don't know what Diablo is, I mean, everyone knows what it is. It's just this, Ben was talking about Diablo 2. Diablo 3 is just, I don't know. How do you explain Diablo?
It's a game.
It's a game.
It's a game
Top
that you
down.
play.
Yeah. It's a loot game. Sorry. I kind of lost my frame of thought. But Diablo 3 is up there, but not at the top because it wasn't great when it first came out. They had major issues, but they did fucking fix it. And it's fun now. It's a lot of fun. Especially when they add seasonal to it, where you have a certain amount of time to play your character, and then after that season is done, you can no longer play that character. And every season they had a set of armor for that season that was like some overpowered something, and it was crazy fun to have that. But there is a downside because you have to start a new character every season, and there's just that heavy grinding where you're really not even looking at the loot. The loot doesn't matter. Your main goal is to get to level 60. And it's like you're going through all this stuff. It's like, all right, this has better stuff. This has better stuff. All right, cool, whatever. You're not even fully looking at it. But once you reach level 60 and you get your set of armor, you can also earn other sets of armor from the previous seasons, and then you start trying to find, like, you either can stick with the set of armor that the season has, because each set of armor gets better with more pieces of it that you get. It gives you additional bonuses, like, and these bonuses are insane. But then what
sets.
Yeah, with our sets. But they have like, already have 2 pieces, you get this bonus. You have 3 sets, you get that bonus and this bonus. If you have 4 sets together, you get all these 4 sets bonuses. And then if you have all of them, you get this massive thing. But like when you start playing, then you realize you can actually mix and match the sets together and like only get the lower benefits, but the lower benefits are still freaking insanely good. And we're still playing it. We started playing it recently, actually, and we're still having fun. Even though we're on the lowest level set, it's still fun because, we're playing together. But when you're in the higher level stuff, that's even fun playing by yourself, because it's like, all right, you're level 60, dead, so it doesn't matter whatever level you are, because you still just have to get the set of armor. And it just gets crazy amount of fun and just stupid, like what Ben was saying with Dungeon Defenders. It's just like, it's just fun to see how powerful you get, and
concur.
It's just crazy amount of fun, and it's great. There's like fun, and what's great is that there's 5 character selects. I think there's 6 now because of the Necromancer, but I'm not paying $15 for one single character. You can fuck off with that. That's just not worth it. And because now when we're doing it, I'm doing Warrior, which I never did, and I'm still having fun because now I'm learning a new character, and I'm going to see some crazy stuff at the end too, which is fun. But yeah, so that's my, and that's why it beats kind of Warframe for me. Like I was saying that I was kind of deciding between the two. I don't play Warframe anymore, and though I'm a huge fan of it, there's no real full reason for me to go back to it, because I'm the only one who plays it. No one else I know plays it, and everything's way more better with friends. But in Diablo 3, everyone always wants to play Diablo 3, and I don't blame them. I was actually hankering to actually come back to Diablo 3 because it's so much fun. Especially when you add other people into it, it gets even more fun because of how crazy things get. But yeah, that's my number 2, is Diablo 3.
It's a good one.
It is. It really is. And then now we're on Ben's number 1.
Yep, my number 1 is Diablo.
Yeah.
So, as Mike basically said everything, but the one thing that I really wanted to emphasize was item sets, or armor sets. That is easily the best part of the game, is that I think it makes the looting really fun, where you're not looking for just like, oh, what piece is better than the piece I already have. If you've got 4 pieces of a set and you need that last piece, like, it gives you a reason to look for something specific. And once you do get all the set pieces, your character gets like a special ability or something. It's not that they're just more powerful, it's that it actually makes them look different or have a special additional skill, which is the coolest. In Diablo 2, I think it was like Train Ghouls, or no, maybe not Train Ghouls. There was a set where if you got every single piece of the armor, you would look like a floating ghoul, like one of the basic mob characters from the game. And
that's cool.
Like, that was funny. There's sets right now in the game where, like, there's one called the Firebird or something, where if you ever die, a meteor hits the ground and kills everything around you, and then you get reborn. And then that's got like a 3-minute cooldown or something. But
yeah,
like, it's cool that that's just an entirely new ability, is that if you die, you can completely become, back into the game. So that's why it's number 1 for me. I don't want to repeat too much of what Mike is saying, but I just wanted to emphasize that the item sets are the coolest part.
And then my number 1 is probably shock Ben, but is actually Borderlands. And the main reason why is that exactly what Ben was saying, but for me, it was like when you play Borderlands, unlike with Diablo, you get other items, and it's like, oh, okay, whatever, you usually just toss it or you just get rid of it. But with Borderlands, the guns do get crazier and crazier. Even at low levels, you're just always excited to see, what does this gun do? Like, how stupid is this gun? Because I remember my favorite moment when I was playing, I think it was even just in Borderlands 1. It still stuck with me today, where I'm like, okay, I was playing the big guy. I think it's called Brick. Yeah, I was playing Brick, and then I was using rocket launchers. And I was like, okay, rocket launcher, just shoot a rocket launcher and it just explodes. And then I just came across this rocket launcher. I'm like, well, this is weird. And it really had no description. And I just shot it. And when you shoot the missile, it shoots more missiles from the missile. And it just bombards the screen with explosions. And then from then on, I was like, what the fuck? And every weapon on just added more and more explosions. When it came to the point, I was playing this with my brother. He's like, all right, you have to stop using him because I can't fucking move because my Xbox cannot keep up with the frame loss. There's too much explosions. I'm like, never more explosions. And that was just with rocket launchers. I mean, every other gun, like, if you went sniper, the snipers got crazy. It's like, and which is kind of funny because with snipers, you just shoot one bullet that does massive amount of damage. But they found fun ways with that too. You just never knew what you were going to get. And it was just so much fun. And it comes to the point then too, it's like you found a gun that did more damage and was cool, but the gun you had now was so cool, it's like, damn, which one do I want? And that's what made it really cool too, is that you actually looked, when you picked up a gun, you actually read everything about it. It's like, all right, what does this gun do? Like, and then tested it out, I'm like, okay, what's the benefits and all that stuff. And when in Diablo 2, there were some that just didn't do anything, didn't do a lot of damage, but was just funny. Like there was a gun that actually just said pew pew pew, or I remember there's a gun that just screamed when you were just holding down the trigger. It was the most annoying gun ever. I don't know if you remember that gun, Ben.
The Bane. Yeah,
I
remember that one.
It just screams at when you just shoot it, and it was the funniest thing. But that one just
It was not funny. It was terrible.
And that's why I'm just so excited for the next Borderlands game to see what they because it's just fun. The game is literally straight up fun, and even when you're at the lowest level going up, the progression is just fun because you get to see, because every step the guns are crazy and it's funny and cool, and you just know like, okay, now I know that there's going to be even something even more crazier down the road and cooler too, and just like it just keeps you going and it's fun to go. And it's a great storyline to it, which is very simple, very straightforward. And every single time, the characters are full of color, character, and everything. And it's just fun. And that's why Borderlands is number one for me. And when I say Borderlands, I mean Borderlands 1, Borderlands 2. I don't think there's a third Borderlands, because I think that the next one's coming out is number 3. Am I correct, Ben?
Borderlands 3 is next, but there's been pre-sequel and all that.
Yeah, there's been pre-sequels and a shit ton of DLC, which all have been really fun to play too, as well. So I'm super excited.
Mike's consensus on Borderlands is that it is fun.
Yes, it is. It is straight up fun. If you want to just have a fun experience, and especially with friends, pick up Borderlands. It's just fun. And then that.
Right, so once again,
top 5.
So my top 5 is from the top to the bottom. Fallout 4, Binding of Isaac, Borderlands just as a series, Dungeon Defenders, and then Diablo as a series.
And then mine was Fallout, like Ben, then Voidbastard, Diablo 3, Warframe, Diablo 3, and then the Borderlands series as well. And then
so something that I did was I made the worst 5 loot systems, which Mike didn't.
I didn't because I just couldn't come up with that, because I don't really play massive loot games. Ben is huge into these type of games. I am actually not. So my top 5 are kind of the only ones I really did play. So
yeah. So I'm gonna run through these. I gave them in order, but the more and more I think about it, the more I think that maybe the order isn't correct. So
they're just the top bottom. I'm gonna just say,
yeah, the ones that stuck out as being particularly dog shit. So the order could probably change in my eyes. If I heard an argument one way or another, I could probably see this being altered a bit. But anyway, so number 5 is Hearthstone. I looked at the prices for card packs, and you only get 5 packs. Sorry, you only get 5 cards in every pack, and the lowest amount you can get is 2 packs for $3. So you're paying $3 to get 10 cards, which is insane. And this is annoying to me because Hearthstone is a deck building game. If you that is specifically pay to win. The more and more decks you can get a hand on, the more and more chances that you're gonna win.
And
So
what's even worse is that you don't even officially own it. It's digital. So just like if they stop supporting Hearthstone, you lose everything. Which is honestly even
definitely.
lamer.
But definitely my biggest issue is just the fact that this is purely pay to win at its essence, and people don't call on it enough. Like, it is a deck building game and they sell decks. That's like if Borderlands was a gun shooting game, and then you could just buy money to get, loot box after loot box of guns. Fuck, they're probably gonna do that in Borderlands 3.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Anyway, number 4. A lot of these, the rest of the games I haven't even played, but it's just for notoriety.
Yeah. I have a few that I haven't played either that I can bring up too.
Yeah. Number 4 is Artifact, which is Valve's card game. So, from what I've heard is that it has an abundance of microtransactions in it. And that's all I'm going to say, because once again, I haven't played that game. Number 3, Fallout 76, because of illegal practices and price inflation.
Whole card. I'm like, it's the number one reason why I'm not dealing with Bethesda anymore. I'm going to wait like months. If I I'm not excited for any of their games at all. I don't care about them. If they turn great and they work, I'm going to play them.
Let's talk about this. You're not excited for any other
Skyrim?
You're not excited for any other games?
I'm really not. There's so many more other games that I'm more excited about, like Cyberpunk 2077. I'm excited about other games too. Like I'm excited fucking beating Resident Evil 7 so I can play Resident Evil 2, their HD remake. Man, there's
let me paint a picture for you. So, Elder Scrolls 6 is a week away. All of us have our pre-orders or whatever. We're ready to go. Mike, you're still going to be sitting there saying, I'm not going to buy Bethesda games.
Yep, I am. You guys can play them, but after Fallout 76, saying like him come up saying it just works and nothing actually worked, I'm like, no, I'm not. It's no, just straight up no. The only reason why I was still playing Fallout 4 was because of all the mods, and I'm not like, and sure Skyrim was fun, and I had a lot of fun playing it, but it's fucking 2019. There's 1,000 fucking games now I can play. Why do I want to waste money on a thing that I know is not going to work at all? I know for a fact it's not going to work. Their games never work. They always get fixed by other people. They're not even in the company. And after them blatantly lying to everyone and then not even taking the blame seriously, like no. I'm just like, me and Ben talked about this like before we started this podcast, by the way. So it's kind of like hard for me to rehash it. But I'm just so
choked up.
I'm just so disappointed by Fallout 76. I wasn't even like, the thing is, I think as soon as they said there was going to be it's going to be like online MMO, I already knew I wasn't going to be playing it. But I thought it was I did pique my interest when it was out there saying like how big it was, the graphics, all that stuff. I was like, cool. And then he was saying, and it just works. I'm like, wow, that's really cool. I'm excited for, to see how good this game's going to be then. And then I didn't bother playing it. And I did like the idea of the beta, play it, it was like something, play it to break it or something like that, I thought was pretty clever. It's like, all right, test the servers to see if they can actually handle players. Great idea. And so the beta comes out. It's just a straight up, early access. That's it. Straight up. That's all that was. You can try to defend yourself as much as you want. It was straight up just early access. Nothing worked in it. And then when the game came out, nothing changed. Nothing in that game actually worked. And then the whole travesty behind afterwards, after everything that came up, if you have not followed Fallout 76, it doesn't matter. If you play any games, you know the story of Fallout 76. It is the biggest shit show ever.
We can rush over those really quickly. So the reason, I feel bad not defending my point. So illegal practices, that's a pretty big term to throw out without giving some background for that. So they on top of the game being broken and not working,
false
and
advertisement,
the server always crashing. So false advertisement there.
Biggest one.
They sold a collector's edition, which was supposed to include a canvas bag, which went down in history as the duffel kerfuffle, which is my favorite term.
Yeah. So that one is simply they promised one bag, they sent a completely different bag that was way lower quality, And they said that
it was nylon instead of canvas.
And it was really bad quality. And they said originally, it's like, oh, yeah, we just couldn't afford it. And we just didn't change it. And it's like, no, that's false advertisement. You can't show one thing and give something else. That's another false advertisement. Bullshit. Sorry,
and so that's 2 strikes of illegal practices. The third one is that price inflation on their shop. So supposedly there was like some seasonal emote bundle.
Yep.
Where
there were actually really shitty emotes too.
Well, not that it matters. I mean,
it doesn't.
Who cares about emotes? But,
yeah, true.
So it was supposed to be
on sale. It was
$30 or $20.
Yeah.
And then it was on sale, but
it was
50% off. But it was not. It was not ever actually on sale. It was just introduced to the store as on sale, and it never changed.
Mm-hmm.
So people were saying that that's price inflation. It's illegal. You can't say something is discounted when it never reaches its full advertised price.
Exactly. And so then they actually made it then the discount price. That was like, yeah, okay. Because
the price that they were intentionally selling it at, but not claiming it was 50% off anymore. Okay, so we can move past Fallout 76. The loot system there. The loot system there. Obviously, they also did the pay-to-win mechanic, where they were saying they would only release things that would be
cosmetic only.
I guess it feels silly to put Fallout 4 on my favorite loot systems and Fallout 76 on my lowest.
And no, I really thought about putting Fallout on my top 5 after this whole Fallout 76, because I've never seen just the biggest fuck you, and just they don't deserve anything, but their Fallout games are very buggy, but they are good.
No,
and just like
you're missing my point though. My point is our top 5s are never ever about the overall game. Our top 5s are about. So you can't look at Fallout 76 as in everything that was wrong with it that happened. You have to look purely on the loot system. And the fact that this game is basically a modification of Fallout 4, and Fallout 4 is on my top 5, you have to ask yourself the question, well, how is one so significantly great that it deserves attention? How is one so significantly bad that it deserves attention?
Oh, I can tell you how, because there is a huge limit on how much stuff you can actually save. And, because actually you can't store a lot, and then when you try to use your materials, it uses sometimes. There has been a whole bunch of bugs where you try to make stuff, and it uses stuff that it wouldn't actually usually use. They actually take apart some of your mods and stuff and use that to build other stuff, which they finally fixed, but that took a long time to fix. And then
the other thing...
Continue.
So I was also going to mention the weights of things, like bobby pins and things that you carry around usually. The weights were inflated so that it would force you to buy more storage or something through their item shop. And then lastly, the dev room got broken into, where the market itself was inflated, and so all of your items basically lost all of their value overnight because people were breaking into the dev room and stealing the best stuff.
No, they were just selling them through third parties, and then they didn't have the store system set up. They actually just finally brought in the store system. And so now you can
the more and more that those items exist outside of the dev room, the more it's going to inflate the economy.
Yeah, and also inflate the PvP too as well, because then people just cheat to get these ultimate legendary weapons and then just one-shot everyone.
Right. So that I just wanted to make that I just wanted to make that clear. Like, even though they're based off of the same concept of, how could you claim that one is great and one is terrible, because they both basically use the same general system.
Oh, did you hear about the new thing you can buy too, though? The thing you buy from their store is that if you want to just transport all of your scavenged items instantly to your storage system, you can pay them to do that for you. And you don't even have to go to your storage system. You can just pay Bethesda to just deliver all the stuff for you and never have to go back to drop it off.
So I don't know anything about that.
Yeah, so it's a new thing they just put in now. So if you don't want to lug all this stuff and deal with the slow speed that we put on you, you can just pay us and we can just deliver it all the way to your system. I'm like, okay. Yeah. And by pay, I mean actually use real money. You don't use, and I'm like, what? It's like, come on. What are you doing, Bethesda?
Aside of all the bugs and all of the illegal things that they did to force people to use real money, it was just kind of like a bastardization of this great loot system, which is why it makes this list. Number 2 is Call of Duty World of War 2, where the thing that frustrated me with that is that people were receiving experience or points or whatever by watching people open loot boxes.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that was really weird. And also it's kind of scummy to be like, you know, it's watching the gambler put in quarter after quarter into the slot machine so that you get quarters. Like, that felt kind of weird.
Yeah,
the last one and the most obvious one too is Star Wars Battlefront, where I mean both 1 and 2. Once again, I haven't played these games, but they're just notoriously almost as bad as Fallout 76. They've just been run through the fucking what's the term?
Ground.
Run through the weeds.
When
they've been dragged through the weeds.
Yeah.
In terms of all their bad press for the loot system.
And so like what's weird is that they took out the microtransactions, but it's still a grind fest. They didn't get rid of the grind though, so you still have to grind heavily for the stuff that usually they would put which I think is stupid. Like, why have that heavy grind if it doesn't make sense? That was a shit show. They tarnished a really good gaming franchise. Not the Star Wars one, just Star Wars. The original Star Wars Battlefront 1 and 2 were a fantastic game.
Which, it's funny that you have to specify now. Like, I never played those 2 games, but it sucks that you can't just say Star Wars Battlefront. Like,
and just immediately know, just like the
great earlier or the later games.
Man, those were I never even played online in those games. I just played co-op with my brothers, and we just had fun playing those massive battlefields against NPCs. Because, man, if you put them on hard, too, they got fucking hard. And it was just stupid fun. Stupid fun. And they ruined it.
All right. So the last things are, I'm going to say some honorable mentions. These are games that I'm either anticipating or games that I haven't played in a while, but I think I remember them having good loot systems. Is Terraria, which I haven't played in like 6 years. But Terraria, I remember, like, they had some really cool stuff where if you played enough, you could get like boots with rockets on them, you could fly,
that was
or
crazy
you get some
fun.
really cool guns. And the guy has only been adding to that game for the last 6 years that I
think
haven't
they
played.
finally stopped updating the game. I mean, it's still a fucking fantastic game. I think I'll have to look into it.
He keeps saying he's going to stop.
But he keeps on
I saw
going?
a couple good memes on it.
Oh, yeah.
He keeps saying he's going to stop, and then he keeps making more shit. So everyone's like, it's probably the only game he's going to work on from now on.
Yeah, he just does it because
basically
it gets headlines and people buy the game and stuff. So it's like the people in Sriracha who make that Sriracha sauce. It's like, oh, we're closing down. So everyone rushes out to buy it because they actually literally, Sriracha's never done advertisement ever. And it's like, oh, we're closing down. So people just rush out to buy it. I think that's what he's doing too then. It's like, oh, I'm going to stop doing updates. It's like, oh shit, buy it before it's out. No, it's bad. But yeah, that
sounds pretty genuine to me. It sounds like he wants to work on other projects, but then maybe gets like
discouraged or just can't do it. Yeah, that game, that is a really good honorable mention because there's a lot of just funny items in it. It's kind of like with Borderlands where you just the items just get crazier and crazier in that game.
And then the next one is Borderlands 3 is coming out. Just wanted to mention that.
Yep.
The last one is that I can't give any more anticipation for this game than I possibly already have. Please, everyone, whoever's listening, check out Remnant from the Ashes. It's coming out on what day is it coming out?
Oh, now I'm remembering that game.
August 20th, I think. In less than a month. And it's going to be awesome, but the loot system is supposed to work. It's like a third-person, over-the-shoulder shooter, but it's team co-op, and you've got machine guns, and you're just like mowing down fairy tale creatures, like not like cute fairy tale creatures, but intense fairy tale creatures.
Half goat, half human things, and all that stuff. Dragons.
And supposedly it's just like a big loot fest. So you kill all this stuff. It's team based, and you get all this shit. And then
that looks like a lot of fun. I'm actually pretty excited to get into that one.
August 20th. They showed it at E3, and I was like, this is the game.
This is the new Diablo replacement until Diablo 4.
Yep. Okay, so those are my honorable mentions. To move things along here, so we don't really have a news story anymore in terms of one thing that we want to specifically talk about, but there's a couple things that came up that I just wanted to mention. In case you're using this as a source for your news, I just want to pass it forward. Definitely don't use We Can't Code as a credible source of news, but
you should use
Ben's
other
I
channel.
want to hear more about that.
You should go over to Overclock
Shut up,
News.
Mike.
He also has an Instagram channel too.
Mike gets $5 whenever he mentions my channel. No, I'm kidding.
Overclock News.
It's the best. So yeah, I'm just going to quickly mention this, but if you want to look up more about this, then go for it. International, the Dota 2 competition, the International, is once again the largest single prize pool ever offered in esports. It has reached over $30 million, which was
Fuck me. Is that for like
the previous?
Is that for first prize, or is that like just the prize that's handed out to the people like first, second, and third?
So I'm pretty sure it's first place.
The first.
I don't know. I can't. No, we
there's-
already said we're not going to be a credible news source, so
'cause-
I don't know. But look it up. But I know that it's going to be this single tournament.
Still,
$30
even
million.
so, 30
I don't
million.
know if that's
Holy shit.
Yeah, I don't know if that's going to one specific team or if that's getting split up, but that is insane. Fortnite had the previous highest amount with 30 million, but International has officially passed 30 million, so they're going to keep climbing. And then the other thing that I thought was interesting, and I thought I'd bring it up, it's two games that are kind of trendy in the news, so I thought I'd mention it. Keanu Reeves supposedly was going to be the main star of Death Stranding, and then he, instead of who's the guy from The Walking Dead that's the main character for Death Stranding now?
I forget, but he's the good hillbilly, the good redneck guy.
From The Walking Dead. So before the good hillbilly, supposedly Keanu Reeves was supposed to be the main Death Stranding person, but the directors or someone didn't quite jive with
the main writer.
Role.
I can see, like, I can understand, like, he doesn't have the look that maybe he was looking for, and so that's why he decided to switch to...
Regardless, he's doing Cyberpunk right now, and so I thought, between Death Stranding and Cyberpunk, I thought it was a cool thing to mention.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Interesting seeing him just like offering himself for video games.
Offering himself, take me.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's offering his likeness, so don't know how much of a dialogue he does. So
they need to make a Bill and Ted video game, or maybe. I'm sure that they probably have already.
I wouldn't be surprised.
How could that series have not been made into some kind of old-fashioned video game? Anyway, so those are news stories, or I guess I'll call them the headlines from now on.
Yeah. There's also with Europe's. No, I think it was Europe's gambling law firm said that finally did an official report too, saying that loot boxes aren't gambling, but they did lay down people's it's not like. A lot of news sources have been saying, it's like they...
Surprise mechanics.
Yeah, news sources are saying that, they are officially saying they're not, but if you actually read their statement, they are saying that right now, with current laws, we can't cover it. But they do state, talking to the companies, that we are very close, you guys are very close in pushing your limits, and there needs to be changes. So they did lay it down saying that even though right now that we are legally not obligated to do anything, if things keep on going where they're going, we are going to step in. And it seems like they're also talking about maybe switching some terms around now with the legal term of gambling when you read their statement. Nothing's 100% certain, but they did lay down saying, hey, you guys need to start working on this because this is actually becoming really close and is right now almost gambling. And with just this one tweak of term,
gambling laws just have to be updated.
Exactly.
That's the only reason that they haven't finished, or that they haven't intervened, is that the gambling laws haven't been updated to the digital era.
And they literally say that, and they say we don't want to stop gambling. We're here to regulate it to make sure everything is in good grounds. And right now, you guys are not gambling, but you're damn close. And the only thing that was stopping them for being part of it is that you cannot officially turn the prizes in for, or whatever the items, not just prizes, but items for real money through a legal system. You have to go through a third source, which since the gaming companies are trying to stop those and put those down, they are still in the green. But they've stated it's like, technically you're in the green, but technically, and you're pushing your luck really hard.
Yeah,
which I appreciate.
It's funny that the only thing that differentiates this from gambling, loot boxes from gambling, is the fact that you can't resell them. Like,
yeah, and that's
in
why
any other world, that would be a negative. The fact that I can't resell these, would make me not want to buy them more. But it is also the only reason that they can legally do it.
And in other countries, they have their term of gambling as that it gives a emotional or feeling of benefits. And that's why in those other countries you hear it is legal, is because in their term of gambling is that anything that is randomized that gives any type of bonus to the person using it. So that's why it's gambling in those countries. And in other countries, it is only for profit, that you can make money from it. And since you cannot make money from it, that's what separates the terms between gambling in United States and Europe. And that's why you hear in other countries, though, it is gambling, because in their terms, it is anything that gives you a benefit that is randomized. Which I thought was very interesting, and I did appreciate, that it was taken very seriously by the Bureau and all that stuff. And I like to see what happens going down. But to be honest, I usually do not buy AAA games anymore. I can't remember the last one I bought from EA, in fact. I haven't bought many games that usually actually even have loot boxes in them.
Well, EA historically is sports and Star Wars.
Did you hear they lost their soccer license to I think Konami? Konami bought
Yikes.
FIFA. Yeah, I think it was either soccer or football. And I remember
Konami said they weren't making video games.
Yeah,
anymore.
I thought
They were
so
only
too.
making
It was
Kino
either them or
machines.
Capcom. I know it was either Konami or Capcom. And
Okay.
but I heard though that they actually lost their license for next year and all that stuff. They,
Not credible news source.
Exactly.
Just keep repeating that.
If you want an incredible news source, go to Overclock News. There's also an Instagram channel of it too.
By the way, McDonald's bought Valve, and Jimmy John's bought Nvidia.
Yeah,
just say that.
totally true.
They're just fake news. Just spread a bunch of
Epic
fucking
Games
fake
is
news
making their
around.
own console now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So the only other thing that I've got to say here on this on my kind of follow along sheet are games coming out, and all that is just a quick repeater of Remnant from the Ashes to August 20th.
I'm
Check
actually
it out.
it's in August 28th this year.
20th. Yep, less than a month.
Fuck yeah, I'm actually kind of excited. And you kind of I totally forgot about it, but just I don't know,
Check out a trailer.
It's like
fans.
Warframe, it sounds to me, third person shooter, you play with friends, and it's like looting. Yeah, I'd be down if you're excited to play for that too. I mean, I'd be more than excited to play that then. Because
I don't know if it's specifically a boss rush, but it sounds like bosses are really emphasized in the game.
Gotcha.
So that
I
sounds
mean-
cool, with kind of kiting bosses with one character and whatnot.
Yeah. Okay.
Top 5 for next week, as we already mentioned, best games that Mike and I have played in 2018.
I already have them. I already have mine. Maybe number 1.
Yeah, I think I already know what my number 1 is. I think I told you about this last.
I don't think you have.
Mike.
No, I don't think so.
I definitely did, but
well, I don't listen to you, so.
I know. Games I'll be playing this week, I'm just going to stick with Eternal Card Game. It's free. Check it out. And Fallout 4 Game of the Year. I'd like to get to that DLC as soon as possible, but I also want to... I don't know if I want to 100% the game. There's a lot of shit in there that's just filler, but I want to get my guy to just be super fucking beefy. So, I don't know if I'm going to even be getting to the DLC in the next week, but I do want to do a DLC review of this game when I do finish, because...
It'll be a while before you get to the
me-
DLC.
What's that?
It'll be a while till you get to the DLC. There's a lot of shit to do, so...
I don't think I'm going to do everything, though. Like I said, I'd like to do a lot. I'd like to get my character to, maybe level 50.
Don't do the camp basing building thing. There's no point to it. Alright.
No, I'm going to skip that.
Yeah, you're not missing anything, to be honest.
The last time I played, I did the Brotherhood of Steel method,
and that's how I won. I know that there's a couple different ways, a couple different paths you can take. I can't decide between the Minutemen, and then so the Minutemen, I just hate them because of the settlement thing.
In the middle,
and then
I avoid doing the Minutemen because then you kind of have to do the base building kind of thing, and it's like it's not bad, but it's also not good. So, and then I think there's just like a free one where you just kind of there's the scientist one. That's right, which I did.
So yeah, if you go with the Institute, then you can do that.
Yeah.
And there's also, like, what is it, the railroad or something? You can do something with them. So there's a couple ways to win from what I've heard.
I forgot about that. Yeah. When I was playing it again, I was doing I started the Brotherhood of Steel. And I was doing an interesting sting gameplay with that one where I was my main goal attack was through the VATS machine. That's what and so that was kind of interesting because I've never done that before in the Fallout games, like to solely focus on the VATS. And it was a lot of fun. It's just, I'm just sad I can't play it because the whole thing's fucked up for me for some reason.
I'm kind of doing the same thing where, well, not VATS, but I'm doing something like a route that I've almost never done. So I have never used a melee weapon in the game yet, and usually I stick with melee weapons.
Fun.
Usually So I'm using just pure guns, and it's interesting because I'm running out of ammo all the time. The reason that I'm using grenades so much is because, like, I really have to think, like, I've got 12 bullets left in my clip, like a grenade will probably do. It's interesting. I've never run into the scenario before in the game where, like, typically I'm just, like, big, strong brute and just beat the shit out of people.
Yeah.
This is the first time that I'm, like, trying to be as strategic as possible.
And you still just started though. Yeah, you mean you just started, and then when it's like if the ammo becomes like non-issue, like not even halfway through. So
well, I feel kind of dumb because I didn't know I was gonna do this when I started, so I put all 10 points into strength, and now they're just kind of sitting there. Like my guy looks beefy, but that's about it.
Why would you do that? Ugh.
I didn't know I was gonna do this play route. And
dude,
then,
you just
once
made
I picked up one gun.
Oh, you're making a struggle.
I know.
You're gonna
I put a bunch of points into intelligence though, so I'm a big strong nerd.
So you can use laser weapons when you finally get them. That's one thing
using laser weapons.
That's the one thing I had an issue with Fallout is that like there were intelligent weapons, but it takes forever to get to them. So you just have to struggle until you finally get them, and then when you first get them, you have a struggle for ammo. So I found that it was very silly that they didn't have an option to get laser weapons really early on in the game, because even though they're laser weapons, there's thousands of other like solid weapon, like bullet using weapons that were better too that you get right off the game, and so that's my major component with Fallout was that the intelligent weapons, you get them too much later in the game. They should be more access for that.
The only way to get laser weapons right away is by going and doing the Minutemen, because that main guy gives you a laser weapon when you win.
But it's fucking lame.
Then you don't have any ammo for it.
Yeah, it's in a lame laser weapon too, by the way. I am not a fan of that laser weapon.
It's a pistol and a rifle, but yeah.
It's a cranking thing. So, you crank it like a wind-up fucking toy. It's like, oh, it's cool. I'm like, it's lame. Fucking lame. The fucking laser rifle is fucking cool. Love the laser rifle.
So what are you going to be playing, Mike?
I'm going to be playing Divinity Original Sin 2, because that game is big as hell, so I got to start cranking it. And then I'll be trying to be playing Resident Evil 7, but I don't have high interest, but I need to play it because I do love the Resident Evil series. I love them to death. I don't know when this happened.
The most underrated.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think people shit on, I think even 6 and 5 are great games too. And I think
5 is great.
What's up? You said Resident
5 is great.
Yeah.
6 is okay.
I enjoyed them both so much, and I played those to death with our friend Tyler, and they're just straight up fun. I totally disagree with people are saying that they're awful games. I think they're great games. I think the whole Resident Evil series is good. Resident Evil 1 is kind of, I can't play Resident Evil 1. It's too much of a struggle. It's the controlling system is too bad to fully enjoy. I know people say, "Oh, but that's on purpose." But yeah, that doesn't make a good game though. Because you're scared of the control layout, that doesn't mean it's good. And when they finally switched it up, it just to like the newer system, it's 10 times better. Which is why I'm really excited to play the Resident Evil 2 HD remake, because they have the new system and place it into it. But if you want to, I heard you can switch to the old system. So
I just compare them as completely different genres at this point.
Yeah, I wouldn't blame you.
But I mean, that's all I gotta say for this podcast here. Is there anything else that you want to get at, or
no? But just once again, apologize for that. People listening about that. There's gonna be that small hiccup in the middle of the podcast. It's just that's not gonna happen again. Just with this brand new system for me, but I have it figured out, so there won't be any more gaps or cuts for our podcast. And that's it. I think.
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
Yeah, that sounds good. I've actually been holding off taking a piss for the last 30 minutes, so
all right,
I'm ready to end this. So
all right.
All right.
Thanks for listening.
Peace out.
Peace.
Bye.